What's up, everybody? This is the Chicago Sports Talk Michael back at it again with another Chicago Bears video. Let's talk about Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields, Chicago Bears fans. So, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. This probably is not my last video discussing this Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, and this quote unquote Bears civil war thing that's going around in our fan base. And to be honest, it's kind of pathetic and petty, but it happens with the Chicago Bears because it's every 3 years we're having these civil war, and it's not about any other position other than the quarterback. Because let's be honest, folks, the Chicago Bears have been a complete joke of a franchise for so long. How many quarterbacks have the Bears have gone through? The Chicago Bears have had a history of failing to develop quarterbacks, which is why I believe it was Jim McMahon that said it. Quarterbacks come here to die in Chicago. And to be honest, in that era of football, he wasn't very special. And the Chicago Bears have a habit of not putting a good quarterback in the best position to succeed. And it's not just Justin Fields, believe it or not. It's happened with so many quarterbacks that the Bears have had. You can go even back to the time where you probably were a toddler coming out of your mom's stomach. Where the time probably Rex Grossman that was the quarterback. The Bears' tendency is when they draft a rookie quarterback, they get put in a terrible situation to succeed. The difference between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, and I hate the Packers. Y'all know this. Chicago Bears fans hate the Packers. They can't stand the Packers. But you want to know what you want to know what the Green Bay Packers do that the Chicago Bears don't? Properly develop quarterbacks the right way. Over the few times in my life that I watched the Green Bay Packers, because we played them and they're in our division. Brett Favre basically got drafted. They won one Super Bowl, and they went to a Super Bowl with Brett Favre. And Brett Favre, even though he was very successful as a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, but the Green Bay Packers front office looked at Brett Favre and said, we can't keep continuing this forever with him. He's getting old. We eventually have to find our guy, his successor, which is why they drafted Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 3-4 years. Someone remind me about that. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for quite a while. And then when Brett Favre eventually, I think he got traded to the Jets, either that or he retired. And basically, Aaron Rodgers turned out to be even better than Brett Favre ever was. And the Packers had like a good run. Yeah, they choked in the playoffs multiple times, but they still had a good run with Aaron Rodgers. And he was like being the MVP candidate every single year of the Packers. And then they drafted Jordan Love, and Jordan Love basically like sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 2.5 seasons. And Jordan Love is turning out to be another solid quarterback. And the Bears, the last quarterback that was with the Bears longer I can remember, was Jay Cutler. And the Bears never really drafted his successor. That was before we released Jay Cutler and we brought in Mike Glennon. And we drafted Mitch Trubisky that year. So I want everyone to lean back to the Chicago Bears for the main topic of this course. I want everybody to know this about Caleb Williams. And I've said I gave everybody my critical opinion about Caleb Williams. He is not anywhere near the talent of Patrick Mahomes. As Twitter, I'm sorry, X, sorry, Elon, but Instagram turn him is trying to put a pedestal on Caleb Williams to be the next Patrick Mahomes. And he's already, quote unquote, the best prospect since Andrew Luck. Now, I just want everybody to know about this. The first overall pick, when it was a quarterback taken, the last quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, but being taken with the first overall pick, was Peyton Manning. The rest of the quarterbacks that were taken with the first overall pick have yet to win a Super Bowl. And they gotten the hype that the term generational. Kyler Murray, I wouldn't say he was generational. I would just say he was great. Trevor Lawrence was deemed generational for the right reasons, but he has yet to meet the expectations of being a generational talent. Andrew Luck did meet the expectations of being generational, but what I will say is about Caleb Williams, you can get Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams can be great, but you can ruin him and not win anything with him. Because Andrew Luck is a prime example of a generational talent that the Colts failed to develop because the Colts didn't address the offensive line. They didn't address the offensive line. His only good receiver was T.Y. Hilton. And they didn't have a very good defense until right around 2018-ish, maybe 2017. And the offensive line was always terrible for Andrew Luck until they drafted that fucking center that they had. Someone remind me of his name that they drafted, but at the time Andrew Luck was damaged goods and he didn't want to play anymore. And Caleb Williams, and people want to say that he'll go. If he gets drafted to the Bears, he's getting put in a perfect scenario. I beg to differ. If he gets drafted to the Bears, there still are flaws that the Bears will have. And people will say, why don't you just sign people in free agency, which the Bears have a ton of money. All I have to say is signing good free agents is nice, but you always, and I repeat, always, and let's repeat it again, always build for the draft, which was Ryan Poles' goal since day one where he got hired as the general manager. Said it with his own words. He wants to build the team through the draft and give this rebuild 3 to 4 years. And I think Ryan Poles has done a good job as general manager. The only mistake that he ever did in his time was trade a high-value second-round pick for Chase Claypool. And people want to say, oh, why not Velus Jones Jr.? Well, I think he's a good running back. Might not be a good receiver, but it might be the Cordell Patterson effect where he may be just good as a running back. And I think he's done a successful job, and people don't. I give him credit because He's made some good draft picks. Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker. I mean, Braxton Jones has been solid, even though I don't think he's like the long term left tackle answer. He drafted Darnell Wright, who was actually not one of the. He's actually the best offensive lineman in last year's draft, technically. And all the signings, he basically hit home runs. And honestly, the Roquan Smith trade, and I was actually pretty mad that Ryan Poles did not pay Roquan Smith. But he turned, and I want everybody to answer this question in the chat if they want to. With the whole Roquan Smith situation going on, and my opinion on Roquan is very talented. Very talented. A top 5 linebacker in the National Football League. And Ryan Poles got rid of him, and I'll say this, I think it worked best for both teams in the end. And he was able to turn that into TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. TJ Edwards has been an absolute steal for the Bears lately, and he took a pay cut to come here. And Tremaine Edmonds, yeah, he did start off slow, but Tremaine Edmonds is looking like an absolute star. Like and Jack Sanborn, the combination of Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards and Jack Sanborn and I'll say this, the Terrell not Terrell, the Terrell Smith, yeah, he is looking like a good cornerback for us. And Tyreek Stevenson, who the Bears actually use that Roquan Smith trade pick to trade up with the Jaguars to get to Tyreek Stevenson. And Tyreek Stevenson turned out to be very good for the Chicago Bears. He had a small down he had a terrible start and then finished out the season great. So I think, and the Montez Sweat trade completely changed over this defense into being horrible into being absolutely good the last stretch. And I believe the Bears will indeed be better on defense if they get one more pass rusher. That's a proven pass rusher. Personally, I break the bank for Danielle Hunter, but I think Ryan Poles absolutely has done a good job. And he got DJ Moore, who's the top receiver in the league. He turned that Bryce Young pick into a quote unquote best deal that the Bears have ever done. And believe it or not, he has the chance to do that again and get but the difference between that trade and this one, potentially, this Caleb Williams trade will be a generational haul. We're talking about 3 first-round picks, and maybe you add a couple, late round picks, a second round, a third round, or whatever, and maybe 2 or 1 potential pro player that they will trade. And Caleb Williams coming into getting drafted the first overall pick. I want everyone to keep in mind with this. Caleb Williams getting drafted with the first overall pick coming into the Chicago Bears. You don't know what his chemistry will be with DJ Moore. You don't know what his chemistry will be with Cole Kmet. And potentially, you're not going to know what his chemistry will be with possibly Rome a Doomsday or Malik Neighbors, and you can throw that Marvin Harrison crap out the window. And And I read my comment section. I love when people listen to a reporter, aka Mel Kiberman, and he thinks the Bears can get the 8th overall pick for Justin Fields. So he said on a show that he believes the Atlanta Falcons will trade the 8th overall pick to get Justin Fields. And y'all know how I feel about Justin Fields. I feel like he needs a complimentary receiver, a good play caller, a much better offensive line, and maybe a solid number 2 tight end because Shane Waldron likes to run double tight end sets. I do believe if he's on a team where, like the Eagles, the 49ers, I think he would excel under that system. And we have to accept the fact that, yeah, Justin Fields has faults, and I get it, but he hasn't had like a good play caller in Chicago. That's why Luke Getsy got fired. But Caleb Williams and if we draft him, we're gonna draft Rome a Doomsday most likely. But I won't be surprised if he gets taken. But we'll say hypothetically speaking. Caleb Williams, Roma Doomsday, and then you trade Justin Fields for a second and a third. You're shooting for Hail Marys at this point, because the best offensive linemen who I really want are going to be taken off the board. And you could forget about Brock Bowers because he'll be taken. He won't fall unless some stupid shit happens, but you get the point. But and yes, he may have a good center, that Oregon center who I really want, or Drake Nugget, that Michigan center who might be a sleeper. But once again, you never know. But the Oregon center who I really want, and the left tackles will be taken that I really want, Joe Awat or whatever, or that fucking Penn State offensive lineman that will be taken. So you're shooting for Hail Marys and hoping that late round picks turn out to be good. Because Caleb Williams, according to many people, will overcome issues that the Bears can have. And you either do that and put Caleb Williams in a possible terrible situation for his development. You're looking at another lost season, most likely. You're going to get Matt Eberflus fired, and you're going to get Ryan Poles fired. And you're going to get Caleb Williams, a new coaching staff, a new general manager, new front office, and it's going to look like it's going to repeat the cycle of coach gets paired with a rookie quarterback with his first year, coach gets fired, the quarterback gets another system to learn, maybe have 1 year of promise, and then it all comes crashing down the following year. So either, because Ryan Poles will have a tough decision to make, because this first overall pick, and shout out to Fast Sports Talk, and I watched his video, and to be honest, I'm kind of losing a little bit of respect, and it's not because he has an opinion that the Bears should get Caleb Williams. He just doesn't have good reason to it, because he said, watching the conference championship, he says we need to get Caleb Williams, but he keeps giving Mahomes credit for basically going in the Super Bowl, and the term pocket passer for Patrick Mahomes He's not a pocket passer. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's not a pocket passer. A pocket passer is actually Brock Purdy because this is literally, and I hate to educate this is football 101. Pocket passer means they're a complete statue in the pocket and they don't move around. Only when they want to, they can move around, but they don't. They just sit back in the pocket and just stare down receivers. And Patrick Mahomes didn't, and even Kansas City Chiefs fans will probably tell you this. And yeah, he didn't make that clutch throw to ice the game. Mahomes didn't play a perfect game against the Baltimore Ravens. The main reason why they won was because the Chiefs defense, and this is the best Chiefs defense Mahomes has ever had in his career being in the NFL, hold the Baltimore Ravens to 7 points. And Lamar Jackson, you already know how I feel about Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson, I feel like he needs one more receiver to be good. And I think he'll eventually get the team to a Super Bowl. But if you look at Brock Purdy, aka Mr. Irrelevant, is he elite? No. Is he solid? Yes. I said he's Kirk Cousins. Even if you have the best quarterback in the league, you still need to build around that quarterback. Otherwise, you're just going to be in a situation like Andrew Luck was, or with Cam Newton was. You're just going to be in that same scenario that you are in now. But if it were up to me, I'd trade that first overall pick and get that generational haul. But that's just me. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching.